Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, can develop following a traumatic event that threatens your safety or makes you feel helpless. Just some of the traumatic events that can lead to PTSD include war, natural disasters, car or plane crashes, terrorist attacks, sudden death of a loved one, kidnapping, or childhood neglect. Vietnam veterans experienced the worst of PTSD. They saw things that no one would ever dream about seeing. They wouldn't want to dream about ever seeing. They saw horrors of war that they could never undo and that they would live with forever. Like said before, there are many causes to PTSD. One of the leading causes is war. The most gruesome war was the Vietnam War. Not because of all the deaths and casualties, but because of what the soldiers saw and were told to do. They had to kill civilians and watch their comrades die in response. They had no reason of why they were going into this war, only that the orders they were given they had to follow. They killed children, even other soldiers without a clear reason, and they watched their soldiers die in response. One of the main symptoms of PTSD was depression. Accompanying with depression was a very well-developed sense of helplessness about one's condition. In Vietnam, the style of combat had no final resolution of conflict for anyone. Regardless of how one might respond, the overall outcome seemed just to be an endless production of casualties with no goals attained. Regardless of how well one worked, sweat, bled, or even died, the outcome was the same. The GIs gained no ground. They were constantly rocketed. They found little support from their friends and neighbors back home, and the people whose names were drafted into the military service felt helpless. They returned to the United States, trying to put together some positive resolution of this episode in their lives, but the atmosphere at home was hopeless. They were helpless. Why even bother anymore? The veterans' rage is frightening to them and to others around them. For no apparent reasons, many will strike out whoever is near. Frequently, this includes their wives and children. Some of these veterans can be quite violent. This behavior generally frightens the veterans, apparently leading many to question their sanity. However, regardless of their afterthoughts, the rage reactions occur frightening frequently. It was hard for Vietnam veterans to have friends. Many veterans who witnessed traumatic experiences complained of feeling like old men in young men's bodies. They feel isolated and distanced from their peers. The veterans feel that most of their non-veteran peers would rather not hear the combat experience. Therefore, they feel rejected. Much of what these veterans have done during war would seem like horrible crimes to their civilian peers. But in reality, faced by Vietnam combats, much actions were frequently means of survival. How is it that I survived when others more worthy than I did not? This was a question asked by many of the Vietnam veterans. Why did they survive when they had to watch their comrades die? It was a feeling of helplessness, and they did not want to feel it again. They feel like they could have done more, yet they had to sit back and watch. Severe guilt is common in many of the veterans and is usually uncurable. Medication is sometimes prescribed to people with PTSD to relieve secondary symptoms of depression or anxiety. Antidepressants are medications most commonly used for PTSD. While antidepressants may help you feel less sad, worried, or on edge, they do not treat the causes of PTSD. Another type of treatment for PTSD is family therapy. Since PTSD affects both you and those close to you, family therapy can be especially productive. Family therapy can help your loved ones understand what you're going through. It can also help everyone in the family communicate better and work through relationship problems caused by PTSD symptoms. Another helpful treatment for PTSD is giving back to the community and doing volunteer work. This helped the veterans feel less helpless and made them feel like they are in control of their lives. It's just a brief summary on how PTSD affected the Vietnam veterans, as well as how it's still affecting our soldiers today. This is not a disorder to be taken lightly. It still affects us and is likely to stay with many of the soldiers throughout their lives. Even if there are cures, they will never fully be free of it.